Right here.
You said that you plan out things very far in advance. Did you have Maggie, like her name, everything planned out, or was that kind of thrown in? I mean, how far along was that?
Did I have Maggie and her name planned out far in advance, or was she just thrown in? No, I had her planned out, which is why the scene in which she was conceived was actually included in the books instead of a fade to black. That and because somebody had bet me I couldn't write a plot-relevant bondage scene. But yeah, I mean, I planned the kid all along. It was just a matter of when I was going to get to pull it out, and I thought it would be a really great way to get dressed in. Oh, come on, you Pete, grow up. I thought it'd be a really great way to get just a perfect motivation to get dressed and to do things he normally would not ever consider doing. Which is what's getting us into all the lovely trouble in Ghost Story, and will continue in Cold Days. So, right here, red hat.
Is he gonna get a new Beetle, or is he gonna fix up his old one?
Is he gonna get a new Beetle, or is he gonna fix up the old one? We'll see. There's no fixing up the old one. It got squished flat. It's possible he could get a new one. I don't know yet. He's not going to have nearly the material resources he had before, assuming he comes back from Fairy at all. Okay, right over here.
Okay. How many of your best ideas came from bad bets?
How many of my best ideas came from bad bets? Pretty much just the one, I guess. I don't know. I don't really know the value of my ideas. What's that? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that was pretty good. That turned out kind of cool.
That was cool.
I'm just going to continue going along being a bit dumb and hope to get lucky doing it because it's worked well so far. Stupidity has served me. Back here in the green. Okay, another green. Why Chicago? Because my teacher wouldn't let me set it in Kansas City. She said, Jim, this is going to sell and you're already walking close enough to Laurel Hamilton's toes that you don't need to set it in Missouri as well. Pick a different city. There were 4 cities on her globe. And one was New York, which the superheroes have wrapped up. One was DC, which I didn't write because I didn't want to do politics. One was Los Angeles, which I didn't do because I didn't want to learn about Los Angeles. And the last one was Chicago, so I used Chicago. And that's why. Okay, in the green with the glasses.
Hi. Is there ever going to be like a spin-off series based on like different characters in the Dresden Files?
Will there ever be a spin-off series based on a different character in the Dresden Files? Excuse me. Will there ever be a spin-off series based on another character in the Dresden Files? Maybe. It could be I have to, pay off my gambling debts or something someday. And there's all kinds of different people I could use who could do their own series. I'd actually considered doing a kind of a side project called the Dresden Contracts, which I would have set during the Dresden Files when I had these other people going out doing things. Kind of where Dresden more or less subcontracts them to help.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure yet at this point. I've never really written a 20+ volume epic fantasy before, so I'm sort of new to that. So I don't want to throw too much more clay on the spinny thing for fear it'll fly off the sides. In the red. Do I have real-life inspirations for the personalities of my characters? Very few directly. I like the way that Rothfuss describes it. Is that one of the things that you do as a writer is you take a tiny piece from that person. Perhaps the way they say a certain phrase, or the way they talk, or the way they chew their gum, and you sort of use that as a seed crystal to germinate on your new character to help you build things around. So. Patrick Rothfuss basically confesses to stealing souls, which is another reason I hate him. As far as direct inspiration on characters, the biggest direct inspiration is going to be Shannon, who is a huge inspiration to all my female characters, even the villains. So, yeah, Shannon is a strong chick. You do not want to cross her lightly, as it turns out. Right here.
How much have you plotted out in fates of the supporting cast?
How much have I plotted out in advance of the supporting cast?
What's going to happen?
The fates of the supporting cast. What's going to happen to them in the long run? I actually have not plotted out what's going to happen to them in the long run. They're vulnerable. And occasionally writers get bored or frustrated and we kill somebody capriciously. Although I probably will avoid doing capricious deaths just because I don't like them. I don't like to read them, so why should I like anybody else to like them? But no, nobody's safe. Sorry, best I can tell you. White shirt right here.
If we like a certain character and want to know more about it, can we email you and we can still write a short story or telling us when the book will come out? Part of that?
If you like a character and want to know more about them, could you email me and get more information or maybe get another short story? What you could do is you could send email to me or to the site on the forum that I have at jim-butcher.com and say, hey, I would love to see a short story like blank. You know, I would like to see more of blank, because I actually do stop when I'm putting books together and say, occasionally I'll stop and say, hey, who do you guys want to see more of in the next book? And I'll say it on Twitter or on my webpage. And that's one of the ways that I determine which characters to pick up and stick into the various plots. I'm not promising it will be good for the characters if you get them more involved, but I do like to have the people that, I mean, you guys are essentially, you know, artists have always had to have patrons to be able to practice their art. You guys are my patrons, and I'd be a fool not to listen to you know, your reactions and to what you want to see. And plus, I'm just, you know, I like doing that because you know, then your favorite character's there, and I get to torture them, and that's a good time. Right here.
If you could be a writer, what would you be?
If I couldn't be a writer, what would I be? Insane.
What's that making now?
I mean, as it is, I'm barely. I barely got 1 foot on reality as it is. I basically get paid to wander around inside my head all day, eavesdrop on conversations between my imaginary friends, and then write them down, and that's my job. I'd probably still be working tech support somewhere because it was fun and fairly easy, and I got to do a lot of writing when I wasn't tech supporting. So, yeah, I mean, that was where Alara got started, was an argument I had while working as an all-night tech at the local internet provider. Right here.
You just said how some characters, their names have relevance when you plot it out. The word Fritz has an interesting Wikipedia page. Was that one that was significant?
Who does?
Fitz.
Fitz, my bad, Fitz.
Fitz.
Fitz. You have a character named Fitz.
Okay. Oh, Fix. I thought you were saying Fitz, and I'm like, yeah, that means you're a bastard in old terms.
Yes, that one.
No, Fix. I mean, he was a mechanic, and so I named him.
No, not Fix. Fitz.
Oh, Fitz.
Truly Fitz.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Truly Fitz.
Yes. Okay, that one.
Yeah, that one.
Yes, it means he's an illegitimate.
Something important.
He's an illegitimate son, and we'll find more about that later. Great.
I don't know if I missed it in Ghost Story or not, but where was Marcone and what exactly was he doing during the story?
Where was Marcone and what was he doing during Ghost Story? Check out Even Hand.
Yes.
He was doing that sort of thing, if not that specific thing.
Back in Stormy Nights.
With the beard.
Okay. Ragged Angel Investigations. Is there more to that than Harry ever caught on to?
Ragged Angel Investigations, is there more to it than Harry ever caught on to? No, Harry was pretty much onto all of it. But it was where he got started, and Nick Christian was a character who I wrote several short stories with when I was learning how to write short stories. Don't get worked up or anything, they were terrible short stories. Plus they were set in Kansas City. So I regarded Nick as a learning experience and made him 30 years older and dropped him off as Harry's mentor. Because, you know, I had learned things from Nick, even if it hadn't been so good for him. Here, holding up the phone. Yeah.
Have you ever considered a video game adaptation of the Dresden Files?
Have you ever considered the video game adaptation of the Dresden Files? I have, but I thought it would just take too long to code. Okay, the answer to that is I've been approached by several people. I haven't been handed anything yet that I thought was just like, ooh, this is perfect. But we'll have to see how things turn out. I mean, the way it works with intellectual property is there's almost always discussion going on, and it almost always never goes anywhere. So again, I mean, it's not on until the check clears. Just getting the check is not good enough either. So right back here, holding up the glasses. Could I tell you about a time where one of the characters surprised me with where they went? Not so much on account of those people work for me. And if they start veering off track, all I have to do is go back in and provide them with good enough motivation to do them what I need them to do. Because as far as the Dresden Files universe goes, I'm God there. I can go back and alter the past and everything, and I am a cruel and malicious God at times. But there are characters who have surprised me with how they developed after I created them. It wasn't that they didn't do their job, it's just they did their job too well to get rid of. You know, I wanted to have the mouthy medical examiner because I love that kind of figure. So I created Butters and figured he'd be there once. And then, but after I got done with him, I'm like, this guy's way too cool. I have to find an excuse to use him again. So yeah, a couple of Deadbeat came along, and I'm thinking, oh man, this character, the medical, against all the necromancers who are going around animating corpses, who needs to be your sidekick? The medical examiner who looks at corpses. You know, how completely appropriate, yet useless to the hero. And so Butters jumped in, and now he's getting even more involved, poor guy. Over here holding 2 books up.
Yeah, I noticed you said previously that you had a lot of martial art experience. What is it, and how much do you actually have to look into writing your books? Like, how much more research?
Okay, how much martial arts experience do I have, and where is it, and how much more do I look into it for the books? My martial arts experience was started with a style called Ryukyu Kempo, which is an Okinawan style. Most of my training is in a variant of Goju Shoryu that was concentrated on street fighting, and had a lot of stomp on their foot, kick them in the knee, don't get sand thrown in your face kinds of moves.